Welcome to week 2 of the NFL season. To kick things off, Kate and I will go ahead and pick all of our winners for week 2. Um, Last week, we had said that anything can happen. It's week 1. We're only picking based on things that we've heard from the offseason, how we saw the teams play last week. And so now you'd be thinking to yourself, well, it should be much easier now that you've seen everyone play. Wrong. I feel like it might be harder to pick for week 2 than it was for week 1 because now we have an idea in our head like, okay, you know, Vikings lost to Tampa Bay. But does that mean Tampa Bay is going to win this week? I don't know. I feel like it almost makes it harder by having seen teams play. I feel like drawing out of a hat may have been easier. But regardless, Kate and I are going to do our best. Um, and as always, we guarantee that our picks are 100% correct, regardless of if we disagree or not. So welcome to week 2 of K&A football. All right, Caden, week 2.
Yo,
How are we feeling?
we are feeling excited. At least I am. Football season's back. It's in full swing. We're now in week 2. It's literally the best time of the year. Fall is my favorite season because of football season. Solely that. It's the only reason that fall is the best. But I like what you said about how this is gonna. It's a little harder for us to pick week 2, so that means that if we struggle this week, then that we have that as a little fallback. So good, nice little save there.
I know. I feel like we need to offer some sort of security blanket every week. Like, yeah, maybe I only went 7-9 last week on picks, but this week, when I go 1-15, it's not my fault. It's the NFL's fault. You have to believe.
Yeah, it's a script.
Exactly. It's a script anyways. So
Yeah.
really, like, if we're not reading it, we can't guess it correctly. Come on, guys.
Right.
All right, so let's just jump into the first game here. Tonight, we have the Vikings. Goodness, I don't know why I couldn't think of their name. The Vikings in Philadelphia playing the Eagles. Obviously, last week, the Eagles barely squeaked out a win against the Patriots. Like you covered, the only reason the Patriots lost is because Patriots receiver couldn't get his second foot down. And then the Vikings, on the other hand, they barely squeaked out a loss against Tampa Bay. It was a one-score game. Went ahead and lost that one, very much unlike last season. So, obviously, we would think to ourselves, okay, well, the Eagles won, Vikings lost. Does that mean the Vikings aren't as good this year? What are your thoughts? Who do you have on this one?
Yeah. What you said is totally right. You think, okay, are the Vikings were they frauds last year? Are they terrible? Because they obviously just lost to the Bucks, who everybody thinks is going to be bad. Me and you both think that the Vikings are going to be a little bit worse than last season. I don't think either of us had them in our playoffs. So, and the Eagles, while they did struggle last week, the Patriots, for some odd reason, have a lot of hype from the media, and people are saying the Patriots are going to be good. Me and you, I know, don't believe that, but the Patriots do have a good defense, and it was week 1. So obviously, for all these games, like you had said when you opened, it's still too early to tell for all of these. But a home Thursday night game in Philly, the place is going to go crazy. It's their home opener. I have the Eagles winning this one, and another factor that's in my mind that we talked about it last season that's actually absolutely crazy that we got to bring it up. But it's a Thursday night, it's a primetime game, and it's the Vikings, and it doesn't matter. It's very, very sad. I know we've repeated it every time they play on primetime, but Kirk Cousins can't play in primetime. It's just super, super weird. Like, it makes no sense. So,
Hey,
you got primetime Kirk Cousins.
What if this season is completely on its head? What if, every one-score game the Vikings are going to lose, but Kirk Cousins is, insane in primetime games?
Okay.
Just like reverse it from last year. I don't believe that whatsoever.
That would shock a lot of people. I don't believe that either.
Don't believe it at all.
The difference from his from when he plays at noon or 4 to when he plays at 8 is drastic. Like it's actually so odd. So I mean, it's just a time of day. It really shouldn't make that big of a difference. But I have the Eagles winning this one.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Got the Eagles winning. I hope that it's a fun game, based on, solely based on last week. I don't think it will be. I think the Eagles will probably destroy them, but obviously always hoping for a fun game unless it's the Browns. Then I hope we blow everyone out of the water. Um, hope Justin Jefferson goes for 1,000 yards. Um, hope Jalen Hurts can get things together and actually put together some semblance of an offense instead of the defense just carrying. But we'll see. I'm with you. Got Eagles in this one. Play should be rocking.
Mm-hmm.
And then next up, we have the Packers at Falcons. So,
Yep.
what do you think
This
for this
should
one?
be. I'm excited for this game. Two teams that are 1-0. The Packers, people were really down on them, and then they just destroyed the Bears. Bears, all their hype just disappeared after that game. And the Falcons, people are saying in the bad NFC South they have a chance to win the division, which is kind of true for every team. But they just kind of ran their way to victory. Desmond Ridder did not do anything. It was all the running game, and they beat us by 14. But like I said, the game was a lot closer than the score indicated. And that was Bryce Young in his first ever NFL start with no wide receivers. A solid defense, but the offense is still very questionable. The Packers, on the other hand, they dominated offensively, defensively. They have good receivers. Jordan Love has been in the league for a while. He hasn't been always been playing, but he's been learning and getting those practice reps, and that does make a difference. I think the Packers will win this one. I think that they just a better all-around team, offensively, defensively. If Aaron Jones plays, that's a big part of it because he's questionable right now. If he plays, I think Packers easily get a win. If he doesn't, I think they'll still be able to get the win, but it'll be a little bit closer of a game. But I think Packers win this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like you said, I think Packers are a more well-rounded team. I mean, their defense is still good. I mean, they're not the greatest, but they're a good defense. They have a strong offense in both the passing game and have one of the best backfields in football with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. Falcons are a little one-dimensional to me. Their defense isn't fantastic. They really only have a run game, and they proved that last week. They're just like, we're going to run over you. And like the Tennessee Titans have proved in the last couple of years, it can work for a while, especially if you have a great backfield like the Falcons have. But I am going to go with the Packers in this one. I don't feel like they won. I don't know if I would say that the Falcons are any better than the Bears are. If anything, I would say they're probably worse. And so I don't see the Packers not winning this one. So I'm with you. Packers take this one in Atlanta.
Cool. And then next up, we got Raiders and Bills. They play at Buffalo. Buffalo coming off their absolute crazy Monday night loss to the Zach Wilson Jets, and the Raiders coming off of their surprising win over the Broncos. What do you make of this one?
Yeah. I think that what you said is completely accurate. The Bills had a disappointing loss, and the Raiders had a surprising win. So I think those words are exactly right. And because it was surprising, got to go with the Bills. I don't think Josh Allen throws as many interceptions as he does. I really like. I don't think you can have a game like that last week where you throw 4 interceptions or 3 interceptions, sorry, and then go in and do the same thing the next week. I think that they're just upset. They're gonna want to come out firing. They're just gonna want to win. Don't think the Raiders really stand a chance in this one, if I'm being honest. Bills Mafia will not let them have a single second of silence on offense.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it might be a little bit of a close game because I still think that Josh Allen will turn the ball over. But I think the Bills will win this one. They can't start 0-2. I mean, if you start 0-2, losing to the Zach Wilson Jets and then the Raiders, then you guys are in big trouble. I mean, Buffalo's favored by 8, so that just shows how much the media and how much Vegas and everybody thinks that they're going to be able to bounce back and focus up this week in practice and beat the Raiders, who, like we said, got kind of a lucky win last week playing the Broncos. 2 bad teams last week, but still kind of surprising that they won that game. So, yeah, we both got the Bills in that one as well.
Yeah, for sure. And then we have an AFC North matchup. we have the Ravens, who I don't know what they angered. I don't know if it's Roger Goodell. I don't know whether it's a spirit of some sort, but they're suffering from the injury bug already, and it's week 2. And then the Bengals, who put up less than 100 yards passing last week in the rain. So, and they're in Cincinnati. So, what do you make of this one?
I'm super excited for this game. I think this is going to be a really fun game to watch. The Ravens, I love Zay Flowers, their rookie wide receiver. It might be a little bit because I have him on my money fantasy league, but I just love watching Zay Flowers. In his first game, he was great. Great rookie performance from him. But I'm picking the Ravens in this game. The last
okay.
2 or 3 seasons, the Bengals, like we always say, have started slow. Last year they started 0-2, and then they were 1-3, I believe, at one point in the season. So they always begin to start slow. The Ravens, on the other hand, normally start quick, and they have a great start. Last week they were a little slow playing the Texans, still got the win, but I think that their defense is better than the Bengals. I think that their offenses are pretty equivalent. The Bengals, normally I would say, yeah, the Bengals got the edge, but with the Bengals always starting slow, which is very odd, but with the Bengals always starting slow, I think the Ravens have the offensive edge and the defensive edge. I think it's going to be a really close game and a fun, high-scoring game, but I think Lamar Jackson will be able to make a difference. Mark Andrews didn't play last week because of injury. He should be back in this game, and that's a big target for Lamar to be able to move up and down the field and score some touchdowns. So I got the Ravens in this one.
Yeah, I'm actually going to disagree with you here. I'm happy that you chose a different team, that we're going to differ on this one. I got the Bengals here. I think that overall, I think the Bengals are just a better team. I think they've proven that in the last couple of seasons. Yeah, the Ravens added some weapons on offense, which is fine. It'll make it for a fun game. But I think that last week was just really disappointing for the Bengals. The rain definitely played a huge part in the fact that they couldn't throw. I mean, Joe Burrow tried to go, in the rain. He tried to wear no glove. That didn't work. He tried to go to a glove. It didn't work. He tried to go back to no glove. Nothing was going for him. I think they're just really frustrated by that. T. Higgins had 0 catches. I think they're just going to come out. They're going to want to really destroy, and they're in Cincinnati. So regardless of what happens, it is an AFC North matchup, so anything can happen. It's going to be a lot of fun regardless. But I have the Bengals here.
Nice. Our first differ.
All right. Next up. Last year, we would have said that this matchup was going to be very fun. For sure, after last week, I don't know if we can say that as much. Maybe not with as much confidence. We have the Seahawks in Detroit playing the Lions. Obviously, last year, like I said, the Seahawks were a lot of fun. They were a high-scoring team. It was like, oh, Seahawks are good. What is this? And the Lions obviously were on the up, and they were kind of good as well. And now, after last week, the Seahawks just didn't perform like we thought they would. So, what are your thoughts on this one? Are the Seahawks going to bounce back?
I do not believe so. I think that the Seahawks nowadays, week 1, I'm not going to say it every single game, but it's week 1. You can't overreact. But yeah, Geno Smith his whole career has been a backup. And last year he had a great season and got paid. And then he got paid big boy money. And then now at least last week, looked like a backup again. Now, part of that was their offensive line being absolutely terrible. But aside from Aaron Donald, name me one good player on that Rams D line.
Can't.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You can't. If you remember last week, the Lions played the Chiefs, who are the Super Bowl champion Chiefs. I mean, they're good. The Lions had pressure almost every single play against a good offensive line and a good team in Kansas City. Aiden Hutchinson was an absolute man in that game. I think that he's going to have a great game again. I think he's going to have so many pressures, so many sacks. He's going to make a lot of plays, maybe even get an interception. I don't know. If I keep talking, I'm just going to set myself up to look more and more stupid when none of this happens. But the Lions are home. The place is Lions tickets right now, the hardest tickets to get. Their season tickets are sold out. Almost all of their games are sold out. The Panthers play the Lions in week 5, and me and my dad are trying to buy tickets to go. But now their tickets are so expensive and so hard to get because the Lions are a good team and everyone's hyping up the Lions. So I think that place is going to be absolutely crazy. I think the Lions are going to win this one.
Yeah, totally with you. I mean, I think that even if the Seahawks performed well last week, I'd still pick the Lions just based off of what I saw last week. I mean, you beat the Super Bowl champions in their home stadium. That's not an easy task. And I think that regardless of whatever happens, I mean, when we talk about Kansas City, right, we say that like there can be, 1 second left on the clock and it doesn't matter how much they're down by. We trust that Mahomes might make something happen. And so you never count them out. I think that with the way Dan Campbell is willing to play and willing to coach, I think that I'd be confident in saying the same thing that until there are all zeros on that clock, I'm not going to count the Lions out of any games simply because I think Dan Campbell is willing to do legitimately anything to win a football game. And so I have the Lions, and I think that I will have the Lions until Dan Campbell proves me wrong because I think that he's a fun coach. I think this is going to be a fun team. So I have the Lions winning this one as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next up, we got the 0-1 Chiefs. Just take a second to comprehend that. The 0-1 Chiefs and versus the 1-0 Jags. So what do we got here? Is Mahomes going to go 0-2?
I don't think so. It'd be a really interesting storyline if they did, but I really don't think so. I don't think. No, I mean they re-solidified their D line. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's Chris Jones, right? Just got his deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, Chris Jones just signed a 1-year deal. Don't know why he held out for a 1-year deal, but whatever.
It doesn't really make sense. You're going to be in the
Doesn't
same
make any
situation
sense.
next year.
But whatever. Re-solidified that D line. Travis Kelce allegedly going to be back. I don't think Kadarius Toney's going to drop as many as he did last week.
Yeah, they might not throw him the ball.
That's true. And they do still have Mahomes. So as well as the Jags played last week, they did play the Colts and they only won by 10. The Chiefs did lose last week, but again, they didn't have Travis Kelce. Kadarius Toney dropped all of those passes. They, their defense was missing that staple in Chris Jones. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs here. I find it really hard to pick against the Chiefs. I mean, obviously they have to lose sometimes, so at some point it'd be smart to pick against them. But on paper, it's hard to pick against them. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs here, even though I look for it to be a fun game. The Chiefs played the Jaguars in the playoffs last year. It was a fun game. It was a close game. Mahomes did get hurt in that game, so that definitely kept it tight. But I look for this to be fun. Do have Chiefs though.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. I'm taking the Chiefs as well. Travis Kelce should be back in this game. Obviously, they missed him really bad week 1. They've had an extended period of time to rest and get ready as they had the Thursday night game last week. And I think we were kind of expecting the Jags to kind of blow out the Colts last week, and they didn't. I mean, they won by 10 points, but the game was a lot closer for most of the game than a lot of us thought, which is a little bit concerning because, like, everyone's hyping them up to potentially be the 1 seed in the AFC. I don't know who in the world would ever pick that, but you gotta be weird to pick that. But so last week they barely beaten the Colts. I mean, 10 points is 10 points, but a little bit closer than I'm sure some Jags fans would have liked. I also had the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to bounce back. I see no way that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes will let them go 0-2. I don't care what's happening. They will find a way to win the game. I don't believe that they can go 0-2.
Yep. Totally with that. All right, who we have next?
Next up, Chargers and Titans. 2 teams 0-1. 2 teams losing very close games on Sunday.
Yeah. I saw, I think maybe it was posted by the NFL, might have been Bleacher Report. You may have seen the same thing. That the Chargers in their last 3 games, like actual games, not preseason games, but their last 3 games between this year and last year have scored 92 points, and they're 0-3 in those 3 games. It's like the definition of chargering it.
Chargering That's the definition of defense. You need a defense.
True story, man. But that being said, I don't think I don't think that you can go play the Dolphins, have such a high scoring game, such an intense game like you did, and then go in and lose to the Titans. I really don't.
Yeah.
So I got the Chargers. I feel pretty confident with that one, actually.
Yeah. I agree with you. I kind of think this is like one of the more locks of the week. I think that the Chargers obviously are upset at what happened. I mean, scoring 45 or whatever they had points, 42 points, and losing is miserable. So, I mean, fortunately for them, they're not playing a team that's going to be passing all over the field. They're going to be running the ball.
Yeah.
Clearly, they can't pass because Ryan Tannehill threw 3 interceptions last week. So, I think the Chargers will be able to score early and just every time they touch the ball, go down and score. And the Titans don't have good enough of an offense. Derrick Henry is great, but he can't score every single drive. So I think the Chargers will win this one pretty handily.
Totally with you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do we have the Bears next?
Yep, Bears and Bucks. Right. This is a very interesting game for me. I'm excited to watch this one.
For sure, for sure. I'll let you talk about this one first.
Okay. So the Bears, all of the offseason hype and completely pooped the bed last week. I mean, they got murdered by the Packers. The Bucks, they were getting talked about being one of the worst teams in the league, and they beat the Vikings. So me and you aren't putting much stock into that one, but we'll see. The Bears losing to the Packers is something we've heard of forever. I mean, it's kind of like there's a few things in the NFL that, again, doesn't make sense. The 49ers always beat the Rams, who play this week. The Browns always beat the Bengals, which doesn't make sense. And the Packers always beat the Bears. We thought it was Aaron Rodgers always beats the Bears, but turns out it's Packers always beat the Bears. So I'm not putting that much stock into it. I mean, I think it definitely is concerning about how badly they lost the game. But I mean, the Vikings, I just don't believe are very great. I think that they're a very overrated team, and last year was kind of a fluke for them. So I'm not that worried about the Bucks. Like I said last week, they had 3 yards of offense per play, like 3 yards per play, which is terrible. And they only scored points because Kirk Cousins was turning the ball over every play. I think Justin Fields is a good enough athlete, and he's a much better athlete and runner than Kirk Cousins. And that doesn't mean much, I know, but he didn't do much last week running the ball, and they were playing a little too conservative. And after the game, the Bears coaches came out and said, yeah, I think we were trying to play it a little bit too safe. Yeah, you don't say. So I think that they're going to open it up a little bit for the Bears. I think Fields will have a great game. I think they'll start throwing to DJ Moore, who they kind of traded the first pick for. And I think the Bears will win a close game.
Yeah, totally with that. I think the Bears will win as well, which, for every person that says the Bears will win, it gives like 0.1% power to Baker Mayfield as he slowly gains that underdog mentality. So that is mildly concerning. But regardless, I don't think that the Buccaneers win over the Vikings was particularly convincing. I think that the Buccaneers just ended up with good field position every time. Obviously, Baker coming in with no expectations is how he plays best. So now that he has a little bit of expectations,
yeah. I didn't even think about that.
So I'm gonna go with the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
If they lose again this week, and if they lose in a fashion that is similar to their Green Bay loss, you may not see me picking the Bears again.
Yep.
We'll see. But for this game, I'm still gonna pick the Bears.
I like your Baker Mayfield logic. I didn't even put that into my reasoning, so I like that.
It's true though.
It's very true.
When he has no expectations.
I'm sure if you have Instagram and you follow any NFL meme page, you've seen the Baker Mayfield cycle where it's play bad, get doubted, get cut, sign with the trash team, film a commercial, beat a or have no expectations, beat a trash team, have expectations, be trash, cycle. And then the whole cycle starts again. Yeah, so it's very funny and it's kind of true. So
very true. All right.
And then the last of the 1:00 games, 2 rookie quarterbacks. So something's going to have to give, and one of them is going to get their first win. The Colts playing the Texans. in Houston. Anthony Richardson should be playing in this game. He got dinged up at the end of their game last week because all he can do is run. But what you got?
This is a really interesting one for me because you have two teams that really aren't that great. And I think that if Anthony Richardson plays, which it looks like he's going to, I'm going to have to go with the Colts in this one. He played well last week. He put up 20 fantasy points. Not that that's all that matters, and he does run a lot. But I think that he also has better weapons than the Texans have, than C.J. Stroud has. So, and I don't know. It's so tough, man. It's really tough to pick this one. I think that their loss against the Jags was kind of convincing. You don't normally say that about a loss, but they only lost by 10 to the Jaguars. I'm going to go with the Colts. I'm not confident with it whatsoever, but I'm committing to it.
Yeah. I don't think this is a hard game for me to pick at all. This one doesn't take much thought for me. I'm taking the Colts. Anthony Richardson, he can run, and that's good enough to score you some points. And the Texans haven't scored a touchdown yet. And they look a little rough. And CJ Stroud, he was a little rough when he played good competition at Ohio State, and now he's playing great competition in the NFL. And it's his second game, same as Anthony Richardson. But CJ Stroud doesn't have. He has to pass. He can't really run. Richardson doesn't have to pass. He can just run all over the Texans and they'll win. So I got the Colts winning this one pretty convincingly. I don't think the Texans are all that great. I don't think the Colts are either, but I think they're better than the Texans. I don't know why in the world the Texans are favored. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't know either. But I guess we're both going with the Colts here. Hope for the best. All right. Now, here we go with one of the guarantees in life. We have 49ers at Rams. And again, you said it's a guarantee, but I feel like this season especially, it's a guarantee. I said it last week. Got a little bit roasted for it. It's fine. I still believe it. Okay, I don't feel like it was a bad take. It was just an unlucky week. 49ers by 1 million. Clip it, Preston. Clip it all you want. When it's 49ers by 1 million, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I think it's also going to be 49ers by whatever they really want to win by. Puka Nacua, great dude, great name, great receiver. We like him. I think he's going to be a solid wide receiver this year, but not this week. You're going up against the 49ers defense. If you have Puka Nacua on your fantasy team, don't start him this week. Yeah, 49ers offense last week. They played a good defense in Pittsburgh, and they just every time touchdown. Got so many interceptions. I think the 49ers will win this one, that is a lock because, like we said, it's one of the guarantees in life. And plus, this year, the Niners are world beaters, and the Rams, we don't expect to be great. So,
yeah. And I know for all of you that have Puka Nacua, it's really tough to not start him because if you have him, you just picked him up off waivers on Wednesday morning.
You didn't draft him.
You did not draft this guy. You just picked him up off waivers, and so you're excited. You're like, all right, here we go. We're going to put him in the lineup. He's going to put up 119 yards again. It's going to be great. Don't do it. It's not worth it. You're just going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt your fantasy team. You're going to hurt your record. Don't do it. Just stick with the team.
And then if you do that, you're probably going 0-2 because the only reason you got him is because you probably went 0-1 and had a high waiver priority. So that's how you were able to get him. And then if you start him, you lose again. You're 0-2. And then your chances to make the playoffs are just getting slimmer and slimmer. So don't start.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it. I know it's tempting, but just don't. Listen to us. Trust us. And if he goes for 200 yards, I'm sorry, but he didn't.
If he goes for 200 yards, you can stop watching the podcast. I'm that certain.
All right. Giants at Cardinals. Giants lost by 40. What a doozy
of a game.
Giants lost by 40, but it is the Cardinals. So, Caden, who you got?
Yeah, should be a doozy of a game. Giants, who lost by 40, and the Cardinals, who are the Cardinals. Shout out Jeremiah. We know the diehard Cardinals fan. It's kind of like the fact that I got to think about it is a little concerning. But after watching the Giants game last week, it really makes you consider because of how bad they played. But I do think a lot of that was just the Cowboys' defense. I think that they're one of the greatest defenses we've ever seen. I'm picking the Giants. Now, if the Cardinals win, this would be probably the week I would be least surprised. And if that happens, then the Giants are just terrible. So I
Absolute
feel like
frauds, and Daniel Jones is a bank robber.
absolutely. But if the Cardinals or if the Cardinals are going to win a game this week, it's going to be this week or it's going to be against the Texans or someone else later in the year. But I still got the Giants winning this one. The Cardinals is still the Cardinals until I'm proven wrong.
Yep, I completely agree with you. I think that the Giants' loss had more to do with the weather. I mean, you can say like it was 40-0. Both teams played in the weather. Yeah, but Dak Prescott didn't pass. Okay, they just ran the ball, and their defense scored all their points. Um, their defense put up as many fantasy points as they had in real life. So, like, I think that it was the weather. I think that once you get behind, you start to get a little more desperate. You start to play a little more frantic. And when you get behind, you can't run the ball. Like you have to make up yards. You have to make up ground quick. You have to throw the ball, and that leads to more turnovers. So I'm gonna go with the Giants here. I mean, they're going to be playing in a dome. Okay, the weather will not be a problem this week. But like you said, if the Giants lose, I don't know. I feel like that's going to say a lot more about the Giants than it does the Cardinals for sure. But
Mm-hmm.
it'll be interesting moving forward as to who we pick in Giants games.
Mm-hmm. I know Jeremiah will be pacing the TV, super nervous about this
Oh yeah,
game.
yep. Jeremiah, this one starts at 4:15, so you want to tune in at that time. I know you probably don't know exactly when it is, but just letting you know. All right, Caden, I feel like this one's probably on locks for you, but Jets at Cowboys, who you got? I feel like maybe it's a toss up. I don't know. Who you got?
Dude, if you asked me this a week ago, I'm super pumped for this game. If you asked me this 3 days ago, I'm super pumped for this game. The Cowboys, who we saw massacre the Giants, and the Jets coming in this game with Aaron Rodgers and their new hyped up offense. Oh, wait, obviously everyone knows Aaron Rodgers went down. That's all anybody's talking about this week. But
Yep.
so the Jets are trotting into this game with Zach Money Wilson as their quarterback. That's a little bit concerning for me, especially when you're going to be playing the Cowboys defense. We saw what they just did to the one New York team, or what are they about to do to this team? Um, I'm a little bit concerned. Look, every goodness, my stupid foam thing on my wall keeps falling on me. All right, all right. It's fine. If it falls again, I'm just going to throw it on the floor. Look, I think everybody who watches football, unless you're like a Bills fan because of what happened last week, I think everybody's rooting for Zach Wilson. Like, I think last year, whenever he was playing, everyone's like, yeah. Every time they watch Zach Wilson, they're like, all right, throw a pick. Come on. Like, they just wanted to see him fail. But this year, like, it's such a sad story with the whole Jets. You got to feel bad for them. And you got to feel bad for Zach Wilson because, I mean, he was a bust of a pick. That's the only way to put it. He was a waste of a pick. And now he sat behind Aaron Rodgers, not supposed to play. And all of a sudden he's thrust into it again. And then he's given the order of don't mess this up. We have a perfect defense. We have a great offensive skill positions. Our O line's a little shaky, but don't mess this up. So me personally, I'm rooting for Zach Wilson this year. I think it'd be a great story if he can come and revive his career even a little bit. With that being said, though, I don't think they make it close against the Cowboys. And so once they get blown out by the Cowboys, I think everyone's going to be like, oh my goodness, their season's over. But I think even if Aaron Rodgers would have played in this game, I still would be taking the Cowboys. So, I mean, don't put too much stock into this game. If you're if you see the Jets get blown out, I wouldn't take too much stock in that. I think if Zach Wilson comes out and plays decent against this defense, I think the Jets are going to be looking really nice and being like, okay, we might not win a Super Bowl, but he's going to be a quarterback that could potentially get us to the playoffs. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, they almost made it to the playoffs last year. They barely missed the playoffs with Zach Wilson as their quarterback all year. So they have a better offense this year than they had last year. I mean, their defense is still just as great as it was last year. I think you're totally right. I think everyone's rooting for Zach Wilson, unless you're in that division. Then of course you want to see him fail. I don't think this game's going to be a blowout. I still have the Cowboys winning, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think that, yeah, Zach Wilson might struggle against this Cowboys defense, but at the same time, I'm not a super big Dak Prescott supporter, and I think that
I know you're not.
he might struggle against the Jets defense. The
Mhm.
Jets defense is no joke either. So I think this is going to be a very defensive battle. I do have the Cowboys winning. I think overall, just having more experience, they have better players. I think they're just a little bit better of a team. So I have them winning, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it'll be a close game, and I think it'll be kind of low scoring. But that's not what matters. What matters is I have the Cowboys. So get that winning percentage up.
Mhm.
All right. Football team at Broncos.
Interesting game.
For sure.
Uh,
Both of these teams are 0 and 1.
no, the
Or
Commanders won.
sorry. Yeah, sorry. Football team is 1 and 0. I mixed that up because it kind of should have been 0 and 1.
Yeah.
They should have lost to the Cardinals, but of course it's the Cardinals, so they didn't. And for that reason, I will be taking the Broncos in this game.
The Broncos, you said?
Yep.
Yep. I agree with you there. No, it's in Mile High, which last week was as well. But early in the season, it's the altitude there does mess with dudes. I think going from Washington to Denver and playing a full football game there against a good defense in Denver is going to be a big difference for them. I think Sean Payton in the second game will be good. Sam Howell really struggled last week against the Cardinals. And now he's playing the Broncos defense. I'm a big Sam Howell believer, and I back Sam Howell and everything, but he might have a rough game. I think the Broncos will win this one pretty easily.
Yep. Totally with you. All right. And then we have the Sunday night game. We have Dolphins at Patriots. For me, this one's on locks, but I'll let you give your opinion before I give my lock for this
Yeah.
one.
So the Patriots had a kind of a surprising game last week, almost beating the Eagles, and the Dolphins, the crazy fun shootout last week against the Chargers. I really want to pick the Patriots because after what I saw from them last week, I was like, okay, maybe this team is like good. Like maybe they're a fun sleeper team. But after watching the Dolphins last week, I just can't pick against them, especially when they're playing the Patriots. I think the Dolphins are going to win this game. I think it's going to be a defensive game a little bit because the Patriots defense is really good. I just worry that they don't have enough speed. That's going to be the talk whenever the Dolphins are playing somebody is, do they have enough speed? Because Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert, you can't keep up with them no matter what team you are. And the Patriots, I think they are one of the slower teams in the league. So that's going to be kind of an issue for them. And I think the Dolphins will win.
Yeah, I'm with you on literally everything you said. I was probably going to say the exact same thing. Bill Belichick is a defensive-minded coach. He always schemes so well for every team he plays on defense. Only problem being, like you said, do they have enough speed? He can scheme all he wants, but at the end of the day, if you don't have the speed to keep up with Tyreek Hill, he's going to drop 300 yards on you again. So, for that reason, I will be taking the Dolphins. I think that it's unlocked solely because of Tyreek Hill, and if Tua, again, I'll say it every week, but as long as Tua doesn't die, they'll be fine. No more concussions, they'll be okay. All right, we have 2 games on Monday night.
Super weird.
Kind of wild. It's kind of so weird, man. I'm not super happy about it. I enjoy my weeknight games to have one game, and I can tune into that game.
I would
It's
totally
good.
enjoy it. I would totally enjoy it if it was like not my team because normally like you're watching a game and then commercial hits and you're like, oh crap, commercial. So you're sitting there watching commercial. If there's 2 games, commercial for one game, you flip it to the other game. It's perfect. So, but now it's the Panthers are one of the games and the Browns are one of the games. I'm going to want to watch the Panthers game.
Yep.
I'm not going to care that there's another game on, so I'm just going to have to miss the other game. It's like, what the heck? So I think it's dumb, but if it was 2 other teams, I'd totally be down for it.
I like my weeknight games to just be chill. You know, it's late. The game's gonna end late. You chill out. You just watch the game. You maybe do some schoolwork or something. I think it's great to have just one game, relaxing. I don't like that there's two, but I don't get to make the rules, and the NFL really likes
They
money,
do.
so I get it. But like you said, your Panthers are playing, so we have Saints at Panthers. Who do you have?
I'm super excited. I'm
It's gonna be
super
very
excited
telling.
for it, man. So Bryce Young's first week last week didn't really go according to plan. He's a rookie, so what can you expect? He played a decent defense in Atlanta, which the Saints also have good defense, but the Saints running game was crazy good. Like just run up the field. Or I'm sorry, the Falcons running game was just run up the field, run up the field, run up the field. And aside from Bryce Young's interceptions, he played a solid game. We also didn't have DJ Chark, who's our quote unquote number 2 receiver. In my eyes, he's our number 1 receiver. I think he's the best receiver on the team. I love DJ Chark. He's not like he hasn't played a snap for us yet, but he's one of my favorite like random players on the team. I think DJ Chark is going to have a great season. He's the quickest receiver we have. He's our deep threat. He's one of our tallest. I think that he's going to be our number 1 receiver, and missing him last week really showed and it really hurt. The Saints, they throw the ball a lot. They threw the ball a lot last week against the Titans, and our pass defense was very good against Atlanta. Now, granted, that was against the Falcons, so you got to put a little stock into that. But I think our pass defense is a lot better than our rush defense. And the Saints were one of the worst teams last week at rushing the ball. So I'm not very concerned of their rushing attack. They also don't have Alvin Kamara. I'm not very scared of them running the ball. Passing the ball might be a little bit of an issue, but fortunately, our pass defense is pretty solid. Ryan Tannehill threw 3 interceptions last week, and they only won by 1 point. So I'm picking the Panthers in this one. Now, it's not if the Panthers lose. If the Panthers lose and I go on Instagram or something and I see all these things of Bryce Young's a bust, I'm going to lose my mind because a rookie quarterback isn't supposed to come out here and be solid. He's a rookie quarterback. He's going to have learning curves. The Saints aren't the greatest team. The Falcons aren't the greatest team, but neither are the Panthers. There's a reason they had to draft him. I just think that he is talented enough to get this win, and I truly do think that we have a better chance at winning this game than Atlanta. But if we lose, I'm not going to overreact. I'm telling myself this. I'm not going to overreact. I'm not going to be scared.
He's not promising that to us. He's reciting these affirmations to himself that his therapist.
Yeah, every night before I go to bed, if we lose, I sit back and I rock, and I'm like, it's going to be okay. Bryce Young's not going to be a bust. But honestly, I'm not worried, even if we do lose. But I think we will in this game, hopefully.
I'm excited to hold you to these words. I'm going to disagree with you. I am going to go with the Saints. I think, they don't have the best rushing attack in the world without Alvin Kamara, which, by the way, joke of a suspension. I have my personal thoughts on that, but
3 games,
whatever.
baby.
It's stupid, man. How does Deshaun Watson get 12 games with something that wasn't even proven in court? This settles in a civil case, and then Alvin Kamara tries to kill a man and gets 3 games. You can't. It doesn't make
good
sense.
thing Alvin Kamara didn't gamble, or else he had been gone for like 3 years.
Don't even get me started on the gambling thing, dude. People lose an entire year for placing one bet on a team that isn't even their own. Okay, it's like some random sport over in India, and they're placing like a $2 bet on it. And Alvin Kamara almost kills a guy and gets 3 games. The NFL, whatever. That's neither here nor there. Talk about picking this game. I'm gonna go with the Saints. I think that their offense is better. Like you said, Bryce Young, it is only his second game, so odds are good that he will have learning curves. He may, throw some interceptions, have some fumbles, mess up a little bit. I think that it'll be close. I don't foresee it being like a huge blowout in favor of the Saints or anything like that. I think it'll be close. Like you said, they did barely win against the Titans with them throwing 3 interceptions, but I'm going to pick them in this game. They are favored. Go with the Saints, but I look for this to be a close game.
I am kind of picking with my heart a little more than my head. I mean, I kind of see it going the Saints' way, but you're not going to hear me saying I think the Saints are going to win. But wink, wink, I totally think that we're going to win this game. But I'm also not too worried if I
Yeah.
blow a few games because Austin kind of got dusted last year. So I'm not too scared about that.
Yeah. Well, it's a new year. New year, new Austin. All right. And then the last game that we have is my Cleveland Browns in Pittsburgh against the Steelers. I'll let you talk about this one first before I give my take on my team.
Yeah. So the Browns dominated the week 1 Bengals last week, and the Steelers, all their hype kind of died when they got massacred by the 49ers. I don't think this is going to be a close game. If the Browns lose, I think it's going to be very concerning, and that's just going to show that the Bengals really are just frauds in the beginning of the season, because I don't think the Steelers team is very good. And the Browns dominated last week, and I think the Browns should kill Pittsburgh. I don't think Pittsburgh's very good. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, totally with you. Glad to hear you say that. Obviously, I think that the only concern for the Browns in this game will be TJ Watt. I mean, TJ Watt single-handedly keeps them in a lot of these games.
Not last week.
Not last week, but in some of these games, it is just strictly the TJ Watt show. But I think we'll be okay. Our running game is great. I think that without the rain, Deshaun Watson's passing will be fine. He is a dual threat quarterback, so he does have the rushing upside. And our defense just looked so good. I don't think Kenny Pickett is going to have a good day whatsoever. I think we're going to shut him down through the air, and I think our entire defensive line is just going to make Najee Harris rush for negative yards. That is, of course, not going to be true, but I can dream. I'm going to pick the Browns. Hope it won't be close. But again, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and knock on wood right here. But like I said, I don't believe in anything the Browns do until there are all zeros on that clock. Okay, so not counting my chickens before they hatch. But we should be 2-0. Knock on wood again.
Yeah.
All right, so those are all the games for this week, and hopefully I do a little bit better than 7-9 from last week.
Shocker, Austin already with the losing record. It's funny how the pick'ems work.
Hey, we're getting it. We're getting it back, man. That might be, if this continues, that might be another guarantee in life that no matter what Austin does, he's just guaranteed to lose the pick'ems.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you've ever had a pick'ems lead on me. Last year in week 1, you started off down, and you were down all year. And week 1, you started down again. So
I came back.
Yeah, but you never had a lead.
And then no, I never had a lead or anywhere really close to a tie. But it's a new year. It's a new me.
Right.
That's all the games for this week. Looking forward to tonight's game. Vikings at Eagles, and looking forward to breaking it down for you guys again at the beginning of next week. We'll catch you guys next time.
Thanks for watching this episode of K&A Football. You can listen to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and we're also active on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts.
If you made it this far in the video, thank you. You're a real one. We'll see you next time.